It was amazing. I grew up on Richard Pryor. You can't even go back and talk about the book he wrote.
Yeah.
You know, and then what I got to do sometimes is explain, which I hate in big arenas, that this is a thought police thing, and I do not like it. But when I use these words, this is my intent behind those words.
Yeah.
Wow.
So as long as you understand my intent, I still get people, well, just don't say it. And I said, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, but they take it out of context and put it on.
Hollywood's favorite anti-woke comedian is back at it again, igniting controversy with a single tweet that has been making headlines for days. He has made it clear that he is not here to follow Hollywood's woke line, and he will not apologize for posing provocative questions. Hollywood disapproves, so what happens when this celebrated actor and comedian chooses to challenge the woke machine? If you've spent any time on the internet, you know that Tim Allen is not one to hold back when expressing his ideas. He frequently tweets something controversial. Take a back seat and watch the woke people go crazy. It's not his first time, and it's unlikely to be his final one, but his most recent tweet triggered a reaction that was both quick and explosive. Twitter mobs couldn't handle this one tweet. It made them go crazy. But let's face it, Tim Allen isn't going to let the woke crowd determine what he can and can't say, which is, in all honesty, why he's been such a thorn in Hollywood's side for so long. When Tim dared to call them out, people were rushing to criticize him for going too far.
Saying a word, and it's one of those things where it's like, it's kind of unbelievable. It's
actually disturbing on a fundamental level. It's gotten to the point where literally there's a deep part of me that just, F it, bring it on. If you want to cancel me, go ahead.
However, that isn't the only thing that woke Hollywood is upset about. Tim has been prodding the bear for years and has mastered the art. For instance, during his Disney vacation, he spent a day at Disneyland. He told an anecdote at Disneyland that caused everyone to gasp. Tim heard a 13-year-old child who enjoyed Skillet's classic ask whether he was pansexual. Tim was unable to resist. However, he shared this instance online, making fun of how the language of identity has gotten so overblown. As was to be expected, the woke crowd quickly accused him of being insensitive and bullying. This is the truth. Tim Allen is despised by Hollywood because he doesn't hesitate to pose the questions that they would prefer to ignore.
Starting in 75, do you still enjoy stand-up, my friend, as much as you did in the early days?
There's moments that it's more. It reminds me of my anarchist background.
And every effort has been made to remove him from the social media outcry, to even removing him from films. But guess what? Tim isn't a part of Hollywood's agenda. Let's take a moment to review ABC's decision to cancel Last Man Standing. If you were unaware, Last Man Standing was one of ABC's highest-rated programs.
Last Man Standing. Congrats on this.
No, thanks very much.
I watched it when it was on ABC.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it wasn't on ABC.
Tell the 300 of the crew and everybody the same thing. We're all going, this is the best show I've ever been on. What? We're off the air. We all thought we were at the top of their game at ABC. Who knows how networks work? I don't know, but it was dropped.
It was second only to Modern Family, yet they dropped it like a hot potato. Why? Because Tim Allen dared to portray a likable conservative on mainstream TV.
And I don't like gum in there too, but all right, when we're driving around, what do other people do when they see us?
They do this.
You know why they do that? This truck is older than you, but it's a classic, and people realize it's a classic. And you're a classic too.
How flattering. I'm an old truck.
As Tim himself stated, nothing is more hazardous in this atmosphere than a witty, likable conservative. That's a major no-no in Hollywood.
I was invited by, we did a VIP thing for the vets and went to the Veterans Ball, and so I went to go see Democrats and Republicans. Yeah, I went to the inauguration.
I'm not attacking you.
You're getting this down. I'm not kidding. You got to be real careful around here. You get beat up. If you don't believe what everybody believes, this is like 30s Germany. I don't know what happened. If you're not.
It wasn't even an attempt to conceal the real reason behind canceling Santa Clauses. The issue was obviously Tim's politics, but he didn't back down. Instead, he called it out. This is where things get interesting, though, because ABC might have fired him, but Fox stepped in to save the show. Even though ABC attempted to use Tim Allen as an example, he ended up having a new platform to reach his audience. He also has a new show on Disney called The Santa Clauses, and the fact that Disney brought him back indicates that they know he won't be leaving. They may attempt to censor him, but they can't silence his influence. Additionally, he has a devoted following that Hollywood cannot ignore. This is where The Santa Clauses really gets heated. Tom's character makes a little jest about wishing everyone a Merry Christmas, but I forgot that saying that makes things more controversial. Santa Claus's joke about Christmas should be the least surprising thing in a Christmas show, but to the woke Twitter community, this was a huge red flag. Some people called it offensive, while others said it was politically divisive. One of the first people to start the fire on Twitter was podcaster and filmmaker Scott Weinberg. He posted the line, "Merry Christmas to all," and it quickly turned into a problematic post. The internet went crazy, with people attacking Tim Allen in the comments section for simply saying it. Tim Allen's joke about Christmas in a Christmas series made the whole woke crowd lose their minds because, to them, he's more than just a comedian. He's a problem that needs to be addressed. One commenter even suggested that Tim's Santa character must be a MAGA supporter, which is almost funny. He's been canceled again and again, yet he keeps coming back despite their best efforts. He's like Hollywood's greatest nightmare, the conservative comic who simply won't go away. But the truth is, Tim Allen isn't only subject to criticism from Twitter trolls. The whole Hollywood establishment is designed to stifle voices like his. Tim has openly criticized how political correctness has taken over comedy, making it almost impossible for comedians to take risks. He has discussed how this impacts him, explaining that he's had to modify his material and jokes to avoid violating today's extremely sensitive criteria. Tim was influenced by comedians like Richard Pryor and Lenny Bruce, who pushed boundaries and didn't hesitate to make people uncomfortable. However, these days every joke is scrutinized, and for comedians like Tim, it's a nightmare. He once quipped on The View that he would most likely be fired for merely quoting his own parents.
Because I do use some provocative words, but I tell them it's words that really got from my parents. You know, they said this stuff, and we talked about it. I can't even say it here. I can't even point to it. It is an alarming thing for comedians, but my act has really been about family and kids and growing up anyway. But I was going to say, if I do some stuff. The women in my life were whatever political party it was. Always they hated the government and who's going to pay for it. They always argued about that.
We've come a long way, but Tim isn't the kind to back down. On the contrary, he's really stepped up and stated in public that he doesn't want to live in constant fear of being silenced. Actually, he would rather take the criticism than compromise his morals, and it's his unwavering approach that has kept him in Hollywood despite all the challenges. They attempt to get rid of him, but here's the problem. Time and again, Tim Allen has become the face of anti-cancel culture whenever the woke crowd attempts to cancel him. He receives a new position, a new role, and a new wave of admirers who value his reluctance to cave. He has succeeded in building a career that defies Hollywood's approved narrative. Even if they may despise him for it, they cannot ignore him. The best aspect, Tim Allen isn't even bothered by their cancellation attempts. He continues to move forward despite the rants from Twitter mobs. When Disney attempted to fire him, he quickly bounced back. Chris Evans was brought in to replace him as Buzz Lightyear, but it didn't hurt his career, and he's now back on Disney Plus with the Santa Clauses, saying things he knows will make Twitter go out of control and highlighting his position on cancel culture itself. Tim acknowledged in one interview that he is aware of the pressure, but he will not sacrifice his humor to appease a select few. He has publicly denounced how society has devolved into such a state of swift cancellation. Tim has quipped that the entire scenario is ridiculous, comparing it to high school, where everyone is eager to jump on you for even the smallest mistake. Because of cancel culture, comedians must justify every joke they make in case it is deemed offensive, and half of them expect to be canceled for simply borrowing language from their own parents' backgrounds. And he's correct. That's precisely what's happening now, which is why so many comedians are keeping quiet out of fear that they will say something that could destroy their careers. But Tim Allen is still standing strong. Tim Allen continues to move forward despite the mob, the network's attempts to blacklist him, and Hollywood's fixation with stifling dissenting opinions. For this reason, in a society where people are preoccupied with canceling everyone who dares to stray out of line, he is the epitome of perseverance. Tim Allen's refusal to be woke has made woke Hollywood seem foolish. He's still standing, my friends, and that's why Tim Allen has successfully embarrassed Hollywood. They can try to silence him, remove his shows, and vent on Twitter, but he has proven that it's possible to survive by remaining loyal to himself. So if you support Tim Allen and are sick of the constant virtue signaling in Hollywood, click the like button and subscribe to see more celebrities destroying the cancel culture narrative.